Have you ever wondered how one of the physically weakest animals on Earth became the most powerful creature in its history? Humans have no claws, no fangs, no natural armor. We cannot outrun most predators. A tiger is stronger than us. An eagle sees farther. A wolf can smell things we never could. Even our closest evolutionary relatives, chimpanzees, are significantly stronger than the average human. And yet today, there are almost no places on Earth untouched by human influence. We have changed forests into cities, redirected rivers, driven species toward extinction, split the atom, walked on the moon, and created weapons capable of destroying entire cities in seconds. So how did this happen? How did a relatively fragile ape become the most dangerous animal the planet has ever produced? The answer begins with something that was both humanity's greatest advantage and potentially its greatest danger: the human mind. For millions of years, our ancestors were not the rulers of the planet. They were prey. Early humans lived in a world filled with animals that could easily kill them. Lions, leopards, hyenas, massive predators that were faster, stronger, and naturally equipped for violence. A human standing alone in the ancient wilderness was not impressive, it was vulnerable. And that vulnerability may have shaped us, because when you cannot defeat the world with your body, you are forced to find another way. Imagine an early human facing a dangerous predator. Running might not be enough. Fighting with bare hands would be almost impossible. But what if that human was not alone? What if there were 10 others nearby? And what if they could communicate? What if they could remember where danger had appeared before? What if they could make a plan? Suddenly, physical strength was no longer the only thing that mattered. Intelligence began to change the rules. But intelligence alone was not enough. One clever human could invent something. A group of humans could preserve it. And that may have been one of our most important evolutionary advantages. We did not simply become smarter, we became better at sharing what we knew. Think about a simple stone tool. One person discovers that striking one rock against another creates a sharp edge. That discovery could mean the difference between starving and eating. But the truly extraordinary thing happens when someone else learns how to make it, then another person, then the next generation. The knowledge survives even after the original inventor is gone. This is called cumulative culture. Knowledge can accumulate over generations, and that changed everything. A wolf does not need to teach its descendants how to be a wolf. Its instincts do much of the work. But humans increasingly depended on knowledge that had to be learned: how to make tools, how to find food, how to track animals, how to avoid poisonous plants, how to survive winter, and eventually, how to kill more effectively. Human evolution was no longer happening only inside the body. It was beginning to happen outside it, in tools, in language, in traditions, in shared knowledge. And this meant something remarkable. A human did not need to be born with claws, because humans could make claws. We did not need to evolve stronger teeth, because we could create blades. We did not need to run faster, because we could create weapons that moved faster than we could. For the first time, intelligence was beginning to replace biology, and once that process started, there was almost no obvious limit to where it could lead. But there was another problem. Intelligence can help an individual. Cooperation can create something far more powerful. Most animals cooperate with members of their own species. Wolves hunt in packs. Ants build colonies. Chimpanzees form social groups. But humans developed an unusual ability. We could cooperate in large groups of individuals who were not necessarily close family. And to do that, we needed something incredibly powerful: trust. Imagine two early humans hunting together. Each person depends on the other. If one runs away during danger, the other may die. If one steals all the food, cooperation collapses. So humans had to become extremely sensitive to social behavior. Who can be trusted? Who is lying? Who is loyal? Who broke the rules? Who helped? Who refused to help? This may be one reason humans became so fascinated by other humans. We watch faces, we analyze voices, we remember insults, we care about reputation, we gossip. Even today, people can spend hours thinking about what another person meant by a single sentence.
That may seem unnecessary in the modern world, but in small, ancient communities, understanding people could be essential for survival. The human brain was not only evolving to understand nature, it was evolving to understand other minds, and eventually to influence them. Then something happened that changed cooperation forever. Language became increasingly sophisticated. Nobody knows the exact moment when human language emerged in the form we would recognize today. Language does not leave behind fossils. We cannot dig it out of the ground like a stone tool. But at some point, humans developed an extraordinary ability. We could communicate about things that were not physically present. A human could point at a predator, but language allowed something far more powerful. Don't go there tomorrow. That animal was near the river yesterday. There is food beyond those mountains. Remember what happened to him. And eventually, let's do something together. Before language, cooperation was limited by what individuals could directly see and experience. Language allowed information to travel between minds. Your experience could become my knowledge, and my knowledge could survive inside someone else. This made human groups increasingly powerful. But language also created something darker. Humans could now spread fear without seeing the danger. They could spread hatred without meeting the person being hated. They could convince large groups to act against another group. A story could unite people, but a story could also divide them. And here, one of the strangest features of humanity begins to appear. The same ability that allowed humans to cooperate also made large-scale conflict possible.
Consider the difference between a fight and a war. Two animals fighting over food is one thing, but war requires something more complicated: planning, communication, organization, shared goals. A group of humans must agree that another group is a threat or an enemy or an obstacle, and then individuals must be willing to risk their lives for something larger than themselves. That is a strange idea from an evolutionary perspective. Why would someone risk death for people who are not even family? One answer may lie in the power of group identity. Humans naturally create categories: us, them, our group, our beliefs, their beliefs. In the ancient world, belonging to a group was essential. Being isolated could be deadly, so loyalty had enormous value. But this instinct has a dangerous side. The stronger the feeling of us becomes, the easier it can become to see others as them. And once another group is no longer seen as individuals, violence can become easier to justify. This is one of the great contradictions of human nature. We are capable of extraordinary empathy. We can risk our lives to save strangers. We can feel emotional pain when watching someone else suffer. But humans can also become capable of terrible cruelty. How can the same species do both? Perhaps because the human mind evolved not as a machine designed only for kindness or only for violence. It evolved to survive in an extremely complicated social world. And sometimes, the same psychological abilities can lead in very different directions. Then came one of humanity's most important technological transformations: weapons. Other animals have natural weapons. A tiger is born with teeth. A rhinoceros is born with a horn. But humans discovered something unusual. We could create weapons outside our bodies. A spear extended the reach of an arm. A sharp stone increased the power of a hand. A bow allowed a human to attack from a distance. And with every technological improvement, our physical limitations mattered slightly less. This was a revolutionary change. Evolution normally takes thousands or millions of years, but technology can change within generations, sometimes within years. A human body from thousands of years ago would still be recognizably human, but the tools humans use today are almost unimaginably different. That is what makes our species so unusual. A tiger cannot decide to suddenly redesign its claws. Humans can redesign their tools, and then redesign the tools used to create those tools. Technology began to evolve faster than biology, and eventually humanity gained a terrifying ability. We could kill without being physically close. Distance changed violence. You no longer needed to overpower your opponent. You only needed a better tool.
But perhaps the greatest transformation came when humans stopped merely adapting to nature and began changing it. Fire helped transform the relationship between humans and the environment. Humans learned to control it and use it for warmth, protection, and eventually cooking. Cooking itself may have had profound consequences for human evolution by making some foods easier to digest and increasing the energy available from them. But fire was more than a source of heat. It was a symbol of something new. Humans were learning that nature could be manipulated, and once a species discovers that, the environment is no longer simply something it must survive. It becomes something it can transform. Then came agriculture. Instead of constantly moving to find food, many human populations began producing it. This allowed populations to grow. Villages became cities, cities became civilizations, and civilizations became conflict. There was now land to control, food to protect, resources to capture, wealth to steal. Large populations could support specialized roles. Some people became farmers, some builders, some rulers, and some became professional warriors. Human violence was becoming organized, no longer just an individual act of survival. It could now be planned by societies, supported by economies, justified by ideologies, and remembered through generations. This raises a disturbing question. Did humans become violent because we became intelligent? Not exactly. Intelligence does not automatically create violence. Many animals are aggressive. Humans did not invent conflict. What humans developed was the ability to make violence increasingly organized and technologically powerful. And this is the crucial difference. A human being can imagine the future. That ability is one of our greatest strengths. We can prepare for danger before it arrives. We can build shelters before storms, store food before winter. But the ability to imagine the future can create fear of things that have not happened yet. What if they attack us? What if they become stronger? What if we lose our land? What if we strike first? The human mind can fight battles long before they physically begin. And sometimes, the stories we tell ourselves about the future can become more powerful than reality. Then humanity entered a new era. Science and industry accelerated technological development beyond anything our ancestors could have imagined. A stone spear became a metal blade became a gun became an automatic weapon, and eventually humans discovered how to release the energy locked inside the atom. For most of human history, our ancestors were threatened by nature. Today, humanity has become capable of threatening nature itself. We can alter ecosystems across the planet. Our activities influence the climate. We have pushed countless species towards extinction, and we've created weapons powerful enough to kill millions. No other animal has ever possessed this level of power. But this brings us back to the original question. Why did humans become the most dangerous animal? Was it because we are naturally more violent than everything else? Perhaps that is too simple. The deeper answer may lie in something more unsettling. Humans became dangerous because our intelligence became powerful faster than our wisdom. We learned how to change the world before we fully learned how to control ourselves. And perhaps that's the real mystery of humanity. The most dangerous thing about humans is not simply that we can kill. Many animals can kill. It is that we can imagine. We can imagine a weapon before it exists. Imagine an enemy before we meet them. Imagine a future disaster. Imagine a world that has never existed, and then attempt to create it. That same imagination gave us medicine, art, music, science, compassion for strangers, and dreams of a better future. But it also gave us the ability to imagine increasingly efficient ways of destroying each other. So perhaps humanity's greatest danger was never hidden in our muscles or our teeth or our hands. It was hidden in the same place as our greatest achievements, the human mind. And that leaves with one final question. If intelligence made us powerful enough to change the entire planet, will wisdom arrive in time to teach us what that power is actually for? Because humans were never the strongest animals. We became dangerous because we learned how to become more than our bodies. And the same mind that gave us the power to destroy the world is still the only thing capable of choosing not to.